So, Professor Jason Brown, you started teaching at UTSC in 2013 after a short time at Western. Firstly,
a short time at Western. I was at Western for 8 years.
Oh my God.
Compared to your time at UTSC, a little shorter.
Okay.
What drew you into UTSC specifically?
The fact that they had a job.
Oh,
I mean, I was at Western for 8 years. You get towards the end of those 8 years and you start thinking about what am I going to do when I finish in this case, my postdoc, what am I going to do? I was constantly applying to UTSC because they were always posting jobs. Animal physiology, they were always posting, we need someone to teach this course, and I would apply and they would send a rejection letter. Yeah. I mean, I was a game at some point where you just like, okay, you see the posting. Yeah, you basically see the posting, you apply, they reject you. You're on the list, so they email you the next time they're looking, and you apply and they reject you. And then I remember one day I was sitting at home, and all of a sudden the email came and was like, yeah, you got the job. We need someone to come teach animal physiology.
Perfect.
So
it was just a job, really. It wasn't like
well, I mean, when you're in academia, I mean, you're like highly qualified to do one thing, really. So you're waiting for that one opportunity to come up. So, I mean, I was applying for other places. I taught at a few other places before I got here. I taught at Georgian College for a couple of years. I taught at Ontario Tech for a semester. So it was, it was a job.
Just because of the job.
Right?
Wait.
It's like I didn't have any connections to Scarborough or to U of T before that.
That makes it more impressive. That makes it more impressive, if anything. Because nowadays, a lot of jobs, if you don't have a connection, it's going to be really hard to get it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good timing. It was just, so the story, I'll tell this story, I guess. So I had applied for a job at McMaster University. So they were looking for someone in their life sciences program to teach courses there. I think it would have been a terrible position because they were, not to talk bad about McMaster University, but
McMaster University.
But it was very clear to me that they just wanted you to be like, hey, we've already got this course. It runs every semester. We just kind of want you to just teach it the way it already is taught. We don't want you to bring any of yourself to this course per se. Like that was the impression I got. I didn't get the job, but the person who did get the job was teaching animal physiology here. So that's what created the vacancy that then I slid into here. And so, I've loved this place ever since I've been here. So
worked out for both of you.
It worked out, right? Yeah.
So which would you rank? Like if you had to make a ranking, like Western, OTAC, UTSC, based on the short amount of time you stayed?
If I have to make I would say, and I guess I'm thinking about like each of these places I was kind of in a different role, so it makes a bit of a difference too. But you can't. Obviously the University of Toronto, biggest university in all of the country. You can't really. There's nothing you can't do here.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Right.
I loved my time at Western for sure. I still live in London, right? I travel back and forth to teach here. I still love Western. I did my undergrad at Laurier in Waterloo, which would rank like right in there too. Like I loved my time at Laurier.
It was definitely fun. I've been to Waterloo. It's nice.
Yeah, and Waterloo was my favorite city to live in by far. I loved Waterloo. I wish I'd have spent more time exploring it while I was there and less time like working and nosing the books and all that sort of thing. But Ontario Tech, I was only there for one semester, and it was actually kind of an online course. I didn't really get a good chance to feel the place out. Actually, I went back and taught one semester at Laurier, which was a lot of fun. It was a fourth-year class, only had 9 students in it.
9 students?
It only had 9 students. Yeah. Hard to believe when you think about like the class sizes here, but yeah, I taught 9 students. It was a lot of fun because we
must have been such a close connection you had with these students.
For sure. Yeah. Like you knew when they were not there.
It must have been a lot because Laurier is a party school. Laurier and Western.
Laurier and Western. Yeah, that's the thing you notice about UTSC. Like it is the polar opposite.
Of these type of schools.
Sure.
Yeah, like Western. Like I said, I still live in London. I don't remember how many years ago this was when we had like a really nice, warm, sunny March break. And like the students of Western are like spilled out into the streets, like tipping cars over, lighting them on fire. They're just having a good old time.
Weather was really good.
Oh yeah, it was St. Patrick's Day, falling right in that March break on a warm day, right? And I couldn't even imagine being at UTSC and being like, oh, the students are like out here tipping cars over and like partying in the street, or you think about Western's homecoming where it's like, like spills out into all the streets. It's nonstop police presence, and then you compare it to like the family-oriented, I don't know what it was like this year. I didn't go this year, but the family-oriented, homecoming that we have here, where you're like there's a Ferris wheel. It's just that they couldn't be different universities at all.
Do we even have homecoming?
Yeah, we do. It's recent.
We did.
It was recent. Oh, I think
we've only done it a couple of years. It never used to be a thing here, and then they brought it in. It was a family-oriented event, and then this year it changed a little bit somehow. It was more of an evening concert kind of a thing, but they do homecoming. It's just not
as extreme.
It's not to the extreme that you see at some places.
It's probably just at St. George, right?
No, it's here. We had it right on here.
Oh, really?
Right on the UTSC campus. Where we had it 3 years in a row now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I think I've seen like one post about it. It wasn't hyped up as as I would expect in like London.
No, it's definitely not. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't.
Like in London, everyone will know whether you like it or not. You will know it's homecoming.
Yeah, you'll know it's homecoming. The whole city knows it's homecoming, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but here it's a whole different vibe.
They shut down streets because of that. Like
Yeah.
homecoming. Like
Yeah. Homecoming is a huge, and I think correspondingly it's huge in like say Western because of course there's the association with football, right? Like the University of Toronto does not exactly have a football.
Like
not a
Essex
team
stuff
that
is
you
cool.
would be proud of.
True.
we
Right?
had our homecoming game against Queens. I'm pretty sure the score was
Did we?
42-6.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
You know what?
We're not.
we're not a
Our
sports
soccer
school.
team's good though.
Are we? Okay.
Soccer
Yeah.
team's not bad. They just want the
All right.
ball.
Hence, yeah, I see this. I see the sweater over there. So, unbiased opinion on the soccer teams.
I mean, they're undefeated, so
Okay, well, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
when you were a student yourself, did you already know what kind of scientist or professor, or if you knew, did you want to become a professor, or did that come later on?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I think like a lot of students, like you come into university and you really don't know what's out there, right? Like I think I was interested in teaching, had thought about high school teaching, but of course it's one of the few careers you know about.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a high school teacher who strongly discouraged me from doing that.
From going into teaching.
From going into teaching, yeah. I mean, he told me, I remember this, and I tell this story a lot, I think, but he's like, you want to go into teaching because you want to teach people who are like you. But he's like, most of my day is not teaching you. Most of my day is teaching kids the X on that calculator means multiply. So he's like, that's my day, So he's probably right. And I think I probably would have died teaching high school if I had to do it now.
True. High school is it's a bit harder to teach.
It's a bit harder to teach. I have 3 kids in high school right now.
It's definitely stressful.
So yeah, it's a different. It's very different than teaching here for sure.
So if you're comparing it to being a professor, being a professor is way easier, just so much more simple.
I'm not gonna say it's easier, but it's like you are probably dealing with a much more engaged audience,
That is true.
right?
I mean,
Like-
you're dealing with adults at the end of the day.
So I mean, so here's the thing. I taught for a couple of years at Georgian College up in Barrie.
Yeah.
And initially I was in their dental hygiene school, just teaching anatomy, physiology. It was a lot of fun. You're dealing with people who are like, I know I want to be a dental hygienist. I'm here for this purpose. Then they moved me, and God bless them, they moved me because it would get me more hours and more pay. They moved me into their pre-health sciences, which is basically like a 5th year of high school, right? Basically. And that's what it felt like teaching. Like I remember very distinctly being in the classroom, teaching chemistry, couldn't hear myself talking over the people who are just talking through your lesson, just lost it, just smashed the blackboard. I'm like, just lost it.
It was bad.
And I was like, I'm done. I got to get the hell out of here.
You couldn't do this.
Right. And fortunately, I think it was not that long after that this UTSC job offer came up. Right. And I was like, I'm not turning this down. Right. So it's not even adults per se. It's just that level of motivation and
Determination.
engagement. I think. Yeah. Determination
Yeah,
and maybe, a bit more of a sense of purpose or something. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Because especially in high school, a lot of people don't know what they're about to do or what they're going into, and they don't take it seriously either, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, right? Because you just don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And you also think you have time. You really think you have time, so you don't really.
Well, you do have time too, right?
You do.
I mean, I don't think I've actually answered the question that you asked yet, but my neighbor before I got here full time, my neighbor is a psychiatrist. And so, anytime I would talk to him, he would be like, oh, it's not too late to start med school. And I'm like, I'm 40. I'm not starting into med school, right? But in his mind, it was like, no, sure, you could start at med school at 40. So you got lots of time. I think,
Right.
sometimes you don't think you have that time, but there's no rush. You don't have to be in high school thinking to yourself like, oh, today is the day I have to decide what I'm going to do the rest of my life.
That's true.
Right? You just kind of work hard and follow the things you're interested in, and you kind of hope the opportunities are going to follow that.
Yeah, that's this pressure that we're going to talk about. A lot of high school students have that same pressure. They think that if they don't make that decision now, or depending on which university they go to or what program they choose, that's just going to be the rest of their life.
Yeah. But see, it matters. It doesn't even matter, I don't think. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, like I said, I've got 3 kids who are in high school.
Right.
My wife teaches grade 8, you know, so like I feel like I'm at this point where I'm very immersed in like this educational side of things. And so, you know, I mean, my wife will tell me she's got, you know, kids who are applying to like the IB program as an example, right?
Yeah.
And so clearly they feel somebody's putting this pressure on them that like IB is the thing to be in if you're going to high school. You have to be an IB. That's like the career, you know, it's going to somehow be great for your future or something.
If you don't do it, like you're going to fail.
Yeah, it's like if you don't do it,
it's
you're,
bad.
yeah. And you think to yourself, like, I mean, I never did IB, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not.
And you're still very immersed in education and academia.
Yeah, it's not a prerequisite for.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't matter where you go and do your undergrad. Fundamentally, doesn't matter where you go and do your grad work if you're going to be a grad student at some point. Like, it doesn't matter where you go per se. I don't think, right? Like, we have a ton of great universities in this country,
That's
right? And you know, like I said, I did my undergrad at Laurier. You could do your undergrad at UTSC. You could do it at Western. You could do it at Brock. I mean, I don't think it matters where you go per se. You know, because all these places are going to provide you with a pretty good, solid education, right? And
That's true.
a lot of it is going to be, what do you make of it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can go to what might be ranked as the worst university in the country and still actually go get a lot out of it and have lots of opportunities in your future because you put the hard work in to make opportunities available to yourself.
I want to shift over to your research. So
Okay.
plant aging,
Yeah.
which is an area that only a small number of scientists worldwide
Yeah.
work on.
That's why we're in it.
Can we first hear a little bit about plant aging? Because it sounds a lot simpler than it might actually be.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, so the plant aging stuff. So when I was an undergrad, so this actually goes back to the question you asked earlier. So this all kind of connects in. You asked me like, was I always interested in being a professor, or like, how did I get into this? And so when I was in my second year at Laurier, the staff association went on strike. And so we didn't have any labs in our courses because all the techs were on strike. And so I sent this very angry email to the university president, right? Like, I should be getting half my tuition back because you're only giving me half the education that I'm paid for. And that email apparently filtered its way down to the dean of science. So I get this email from his, you know, assistant who's like, "Hey, the dean wants to talk to you about your letter." Okay. So
I
went
know the walk to the office must have been terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, you know, going back to like we were saying about like high school students not even really knowing what they're in for when they come to university in the first place. I mean, the idea of like the dean is something that's like far off. You don't even think about their existence, right? So, so I go to this office and he, you know, talks about the letter for about 5 minutes and then pivots very quickly to, well, you know, I saw your transcript. You know, you had a pretty good first year. He's like, you know, you should really think about applying for some kind of like summer research position. You know, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I don't really know any of the faculty here. Like, he's like, you just, you know, go and talk to these NSERC funded faculty, and like, I don't know these people, right? Like, I've had one biology prof, you know, so far, so I don't know. I just ignored it. And then about 3 weeks later, I get this email from this biology professor. Her name is Marianne Fields, and she's like, hey, the dean told me you might be interested in like science summer research, and I'd love to talk to you about it.
Oh, he set you up.
He set me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met with her, and like that was the pivotal moment. That was like this like serendipitous turning point in my life, really. Because then she's like, "Yeah, I think you should apply for this," and I did, and I got the research funding for the summer. So I worked in her lab after my second year. I went again after my third year, did a fourth year thesis with her, and then at that point, you're just like, "Well, I'm hooked on this. Like, this is fun."
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, her lab was a plant genetics lab. So that's where the plant side of things came from. And then when I was doing my grad work, I ended up doing this side project on aging. So there's a lab at McMaster that specializes in bats. And bats live a long time. They live like, you know, 2-3 times as long as similar sized, you know, rodents, say. So yeah, we went and did some work on this like bat and birds and mice and kind of like comparing their physiology and why do they live such different lifespans. And then as part of your PhD, at some point you have to do a comprehensive exam. And one of the examiners gave me this book to read. It was all about like, you know, why are some plants annuals and some plants perennials? Like, why there's different lifespan? And it was all very ecology focused and evolution focused, like all these like ecological reasons. And I was like, has nobody thought about like, you can't just be like an annual plant today and change into a perennial without there being like some kind of like underlying physiological changes happening.
Right.
And so I convinced my PhD supervisor, who was like a hibernation physiologist. I was like, hey, Jim, can we put some like grow lights under the benches here and grow plants and study like aging in these plants? And to his credit, he was like, sure. And bought these grow lights and we installed them under the lab bench and we were growing plants on the floor in the lab. And that's kind of where the plant aging research kind of took off. It was like bringing my two research worlds together. And to your point, there's a handful of people who do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, well, this is a really niche area. When you're trying to, carve out some research space for yourself, that's what you want. You want to be somewhere where nobody is.
Yeah, you need to find like some sort of niche area that no one worked on.
Yeah.
It makes it easier also as well.
Yeah, well, it makes it easier to pitch that you're doing something novel.
Did it make it more intimidating though? Like it was like just like not just you, but like there wasn't that much people doing it.
What makes it a challenge is that when you are trying to like publish the work, you know that it's always going to be the same handful of people who get asked to review that work, right? And then you're right, they're kind of like, this guy's kind of honing in on our territory. Like we're not going to just let that happen. So, you feel like you're getting a bit of a rough ride sometimes from like, on the back end, scientists are not like, super collegial in that regard. So it does make it a bit more intimidating that you're trying to break into this relatively small community. Yeah.
What's something interesting that you've learned in your research in plant aging? I mean, is there like a fun fact you could tell us? Is it a fun like area of research?
Well, I bet he thinks it's fun.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the thing is that I get a lot of undergrads who reach out. Can I do research with you? And the majority don't care about plants at all, right? Like they're just like, I need a research experience because it'll look good on my CV, and you happen to have a space and it's with plants, and I'll do it. I only had one student who actually like graduated from, here and actually went off to do like a grad work in plant research. I don't know. Like we would find. So I think. I don't know if that's an interesting fact per se, but I mean, I was mentioning. So my undergrad research supervisor, Marianne Fields, she passed away a few years after I graduated from Laurier. But the work that I did in her lab, she had these like she was big on flax. That was her plant. And she had created these early flowering flax, and we were studying their genetics. And then fast forward 20 years, I was like, I'm kind of doing this plant aging research. Hey, I'd be really interested to like study the aging of these early flowering flax. Do they age differently than the normal flowering flax? And I was like, I wonder where those seeds went. Like she had all this population of seeds. So I started investigating. We found where they were. They were actually at a Plant Genome Resources in Canada in Saskatoon. And they sent the seeds out to us, and I was like, it was this like full circle moment in life where you're like, planting these seeds that you were planting for the first time 20 years ago when you were like a second year undergrad, and now you're, planting those same seeds and like guiding other undergrads through the same thing you were doing 20 years ago. It was kind of
it's like a complete cycle.
It was a complete cycle.
Like you saw it from the beginning to the end.
Perspective. I don't know. I don't know.
No. It's
somehow
we have an inside joke about Saskatoon.
Oh, okay. You don't like Saskatoon?
No. We do. It's an inside joke that we have.
Okay.
Remember you mentioned it. I mean, that's fine, but
what are flax? Are those just like plant seeds?
So flax. So flax. People are familiar with the seed mostly. The flax is a major crop in Canada. So at this place in Saskatoon where they Plant Genome Resources Canada, they have over 100. There's 100 different cultivars of flax. They're grown mostly for either the oil in their seed or they're grown for like the fibers in their stem. So they're pretty. Canada's a pretty like an epicenter of flax research. So yeah.
So
they're beautiful.
They were easy. They were easy to get.
They're super easy to get. They're super easy to grow. Like they just like. You plant the seed. It's like this 60 centimeter tall stem that puts like a purple little flower at the top. It only lasts for maybe 12 hours because it pollinates itself. So the flower is kind of actually useless. And it just pollinates itself. The flower falls off. A seed pod comes, and you're on to the next generation.
So that's why it has like such a short lifespan.
Well, so it's an annual, so it lives for a year. So it has a lifespan of a couple months, really.
Yeah, like in comparison to other plants, right?
Yeah. So there are perennial versions of flax too. So we've grown some of them and compared the annuals to the perennials. So there's flax that'll live for years and years and years. But the ones that the ones that I researched on when I was an undergrad were all just the annuals that have this very short lifespan. Yeah.
Okay, so we want to like scoot over more to your quizzing style, like
Sure.
your teaching style.
Okay.
So a lot of students say that the way you quiz them and the way you teach them forces them to think like scientists, like researchers.
That's
right?
the goal.
So why is that like sort of transition from being a student to being a scientist very important for you?
Yeah, it's important. I think so. The inspiration for me to do this was just my own experience, right? So I did my undergrad, and when I went to grad school at Western, what I remember is like sitting in, seminars and listening to, researchers talk about their work. And what you were trained to do as an undergrad is just to listen and accept everything that person is saying as just the gospel truth.
Just fact.
Just fact. They're just telling you straight up facts, right?
You can't criticize them or anything.
Well, that's kind of how a lecture works, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there as a grad student in a seminar and you're listening to this person, you're just accepting everything they say as fact. And then I remember, after the seminar's over, you have this question and answer session, and these people around you, these profs and other grad students, are asking all these insightful questions, right? Like, well, have you thought about this? Or, I'm challenging the way you interpreted your data in this way, or whatever. They're asking all these really insightful questions. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how are they thinking these things up? Like, I just sat here and accepted everything they told me as being true.
Right.
And these guys are out there challenging everything they're saying. Like, how are they able to do that?
Yeah, like the different perspectives being put into this.
Yeah. So it was a realization to me that my undergrad education had failed me, that it hadn't really prepared me to be a scientist.
Right.
Right. And so it was kind of then I was like, if I ever get into the point where I'm teaching, that's not going to be how I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach with the idea that my students will
challenge you.
They don't challenge me so much, I guess. Like they don't come up to you and be like, I don't
wrong.
agree with anything you said today. But at least for them to critically evaluate the information they're getting. Like think about like how could this information apply in different circumstances. I could teach a hypothesis in lecture and then say, okay, here's a data set. Does this seem to support this hypothesis? Yes or no? So just getting them to go beyond the memorization of the content and to really be like, I want to think about this. I want to truly understand this. I want to realize that, from just a handful of principles that he could teach me in lecture, I can actually extrapolate that to, different scenarios and be able to explain observations that...
Explain it in simpler terms as well.
Yeah. Because that's what science is about, right? Like science is... you think about what scientists do fundamentally. They don't just fill their head with knowledge. They look at the world around them and they're like, how can I explain what the hell I'm seeing based on what I know?
Okay.
Right? So it was trying to instill that
you're kind of teaching your students how to ask good questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach them how to be scientists. Yeah.
To think for themselves.
Yeah, how to think critically and creatively. Yeah.
Right.
Well, keeping on the topic of quizzes, I don't know. Well, you probably wouldn't know, but my brother is also a second year who's in your course last semester.
Yeah.
And him and as well as other second years, they had a lot of comments about the way you quiz, specifically like the actual quizzes themselves.
Okay.
Like different methods as in, allowing the use of ChatGPT, getting the help from other professors. Can we get like your view on how you do your quizzes and why you do them per se? Like different from any other professor here.
Yeah. So the ChatGPT piece is a bit of a challenge for sure, right? I think, it's that has the potential to kind of undercut everything I'm trying to do. I say to students like, you can use ChatGPT or any other AI as kind of a collaboration partner, which I think is because, we can't ignore the power of generative AI.
It's very useful, yeah.
But I think the danger is that I think a lot of students are just using it now to replace their own thinking. So my goal was to encourage you to think critically and creatively And suddenly you start outsourcing that and saying, well, I'll just run this question through ChatGPT,
just
see
let
what
it
it
think
tells
for
me.
me.
Yeah, I'll let it think for me, right? And hopefully I'll just get a good enough mark, and that's all I care about. So I am having to kind of like reevaluate a little bit in terms of like, how do you, because I mean, the other aspect of my quizzes that are a bit unique, I think, too, is we're all online.
Yeah.
Right. So I haven't, I mean, COVID forced that to happen.
Yeah.
And then I never came back to in person. And that decision was mostly because, I mean, you guys have written in-person exams.
Yeah.
The environment sucks.
True.
Right.
Very
Like you're sitting in this. Yeah. It's just like you're sitting in this room. I remember I had to, so I haven't run an in-person exam since COVID. I remember one course, there was a power outage during the exam. So they had to like stop the exam and reschedule it. And the prof was like, okay, they've rescheduled for a date when I'm already gone to a conference. Can you look after this exam for me? Because I also teach the course, other semesters. Sure, whatever. And I remember just like going to, it was Highland Hall, the exam room there. And like, I was stressed out just from like, you know, the registrar sends over, you know, these people who stand at the front and just basically tell you all the ways that you could create an academic violation, you know, if you do this or that. And I'm like, I'm just going to go stand outside here.
A lot of threats.
A lot of threats, right? So I just went and stood at the door as people were coming in and just like welcomed them to the exam and just got out of that situation. So yeah, I like doing things online because it is that lower anxiety environment.
It helps a lot with like your marks as well, because if you're stressed, you're not going to think
Sure,
straight.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yeah. So I want to stay online, but then the ChatGPT piece becomes a bit of a challenge. Right? How do you
Navigate it.
Still navigate that. So it's a work in progress for sure.
Right.
I'm not teaching this semester. I've spent this semester reading a couple of books on like, you know, AI and education, and I'm trying to make some overhaul changes to things. So we'll see how that goes.
How that could work,
But yeah, I'm not keen to go back. I'm certainly not keen to go back in person. I definitely don't think, I mean, the other side is that I often, I don't know if I should say this because I don't know who will listen to it, but I mean, you know, I often get a lot of pressure from like, you know, my department about like your marks are too high. You know, that course exactly is, and second year animal physiology, marks are too high. And their concern obviously is like, look, students are just using Gen AI and that's how they're succeeding. And, you know, and it's frustrating because I think that could be happening for sure. But definitely you still, when you talk to students or you get your feedback at the end, you know, the student evaluations, most of what I hear from people is still like, those exams are crazy hard. You know, I don't know. Your brother took the course. I don't know. What was his?
He got like a 4.0.
He got a 4.0.
Yeah, I remember he was at our house doing the exam. He's like, oh, I got an exam. He's like, oh, you got to get ready? He's like, oh, no, it's an online exam.
Right.
What?
Okay. So he didn't find it challenging or he did?
Honestly, I was not in the house when he did it. I could not tell you how he found it.
Do you think he used chat?
Let's not put him under the bus.
Let's not throw him under the. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he put in honest work.
I mean, he's an honest guy. He's a genuine
He is an
guy.
honest guy.
Yeah.
What's like the course average for your class?
Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually high 70s, low 80s sometimes. So,
okay.
That's really good.
Yeah, if you're, like I said, the frustrating thing on my end is that you'll sometimes get this pushback. Like like I said, the department might say to you, "Hey, you know, all the other B-level courses have, 60 or 70 averages.
Yeah.
You know, you're the anomaly. So
Maybe
you
you're
need
just
to-"
teaching better than them.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, I always say like there's only 2 points when the department has any interest in my course. It's
Right.
when I submit the syllabus at the beginning of the year and when I submit my grades at the end.
Yeah.
In between, they don't seem to care.
Yeah, there is.
So yeah, you look at the grades and you're like, okay, you're higher than everybody else, and the assumption is that, well, you must be easier than everybody else, not that you're teaching
Not
better.
that you're teaching better.
You know, and it's kind of frustrating on my end because I think to myself, well, if I just put in half the effort and students do worse as a result,
They're not going to tell you.
they're
anything.
happier. Yeah. Why are? Yeah. So, that's a bit of a challenge.
Okay, now we can move on to your rate my prof.
Okay.
Because you have like an 81.3%. Rating. Well, people, a lot of like 81% of people said they would take your course again.
Right.
Like,
How
they were
does
really
that
happy.
make you feel? That like a huge majority of the students you have taught want you as their professor again.
Yeah, you can't read too much into that, right? Because there's lots of research out there that basically says like you get higher student evaluations the higher the mark that you give.
That's true.
True.
Right.
True.
So, I mean, part of it too is that people fill out those Rate My Professor evaluations after they finish the course, after they've gotten the mark that they are happy with.
And then based on the mark, that's going to be their reaction.
Yeah.
for
And
cases.
and if you look through there, interestingly, most of the angry comments are people who have written your first midterm or first quiz, didn't go well because they were blindsided a little bit by the question type. And then they just like rant on how this is,
How bad it was.
how
Yeah.
ridiculous this whole thing is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mostly people, being happy at the end, saying, okay, I got a grade that I'm happy with, so I'm gonna, give you a positive review. So I have to take it with a grain of salt for sure. The Rate My Prof, right?
I mean, you could take it with a grain of salt, of course, but I feel like a lot of profs, for some of them, it's kind of true. Like the comments for some courses.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's.
Yeah, I think I try to. I focus more on my student evaluations at the end of the year, the ones that U of T does.
Yeah.
And again, less on the numbers that people check off, and more on just the comments that they leave. So the same thing here. I mean, if I was going to go through my Rate My Prof, you focus a little bit more on the comments.
Yeah.
Rather
And just
than
try to
doing
take
it.
away like what are the things that they seem to like, what are the things they seem to hate. Is there anything I'm doing that they hate that I could change? And mostly what they hate in my student evaluations is they'll say, I hate your exam style.
We
Like-
actually have some ratings
okay.
prepared.
Okay.
So surprisingly, the only 1-star rating, students said nothing but ridiculous quizzes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's 2 words.
Just ridiculous quizzes.
Yeah. Well, that's always been the case ever
Okay.
since I've been
Just the
here.
quizzes in the exam.
Yeah, it's mostly most of the evaluation that I get is back on the quizzes. You have some people. There's a dichotomy for sure, especially the second year. Is you get the students who say to you, "I hate your quizzes. I feel like there's no opportunity for me to really showcase what I know because I have to like contort my thinking to match yours to get this question right." And then there's the other half who will tell you, I loved your quizzes. This is what I thought university was going to be about when I came here, somebody challenging me to think. So you have that real dichotomy. And what I find interesting is as you progress through to third and fourth year, that balance really shifts towards the people who are like, I really
like it better.
I like this style, right? This actually, I can see the value of what you're trying to do now that I'm in fourth year that I couldn't see when I was in second year.
That's true.
Why do you think there's such a divide though with people in your quizzes?
Maybe
is
it's
it
just like just
is
fresh
it just
out of
the
high school.
online format or
No, it was even before I was online that you would get that dichotomy. So I don't think it's the online format. I think it's, again, it comes back to maybe a little bit of like, what did you expect from your university, right? Like
Yeah.
the thing is when you come through high school, again, it seems like it's mostly just, can I remember all this content this person is teaching me? And so if you've been successful in that approach, that paradigm of like, I just got to memorize a lot of content or how to do this math or this chemistry or whatever. I just got to memorize all this stuff and I'll be fine. And then you suddenly come to a course where it's like, me just remembering all this content isn't getting me anywhere.
Yeah.
I actually have to understand it well enough to apply it, to see how it applies. Like, I mean, no one's telling me that, oh, this question requires you to use this concept. You have to be like, oh, I think this question probably requires me to use this concept.
You need
Pull
to
it in
figure
there,
it
see
out.
how it works. Yeah, so it's just that I think you get that dichotomy because people who have been successful
In high school?
in high school, just based on memorizing content, if they suddenly are not having success because you're challenging them to do something differently, then they're the ones who struggle. If you could say, hey, I can appreciate the value of what is trying to be done here and I'll adjust my approach, then you'll be successful and you'll be fine.
Yeah. But if you get angry, then you're just going to get low marks. Nothing's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at some point you have to. I mean, I remember one year I had a student, and this is usually what happens. You know, you get this. I had this student who was like obviously a super high achieving high school student, first year student, got a 60 on the first midterm in animal physiology. Sends me this like scathing email, right?
Oh my
Basically
God.
telling me that, you know, I obviously hate students, you know, don't care about their success, you know, just making this unnecessarily hard, whatever, just a scathing email. And I responded back kind of with, you know, why I'm doing things the way I'm doing. And like, if you kind of adapt to it, you'll be fine. You know, and then, yeah, she did and got a 90 at the end of the course, right? And sent a totally different email, right, at the end of the semester saying like, yeah, I realize now that I can do this, number one, and that I was just angry because it was challenging me to do something different than I was accustomed to, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like anything, right? If you're, you know, you play soccer and suddenly they're like, hey, we're going to make the goals half as big. And you're going to be like, okay,
Gotta
well,
adapt.
yeah.
That's definitely a change,
you can
yeah.
either scream and yell and be like, well, this is going to make it harder for me to score.
But I
Or you
can
can
adapt.
say, or I'm going to have to get it better at shooting past this goaltender. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
No. We see
Yeah.
that. That's definitely the difference between like outdoor and indoor. But
Right. Yeah.
it's
yeah.
definitely the same
Right,
exact thing.
right.
Smaller ball,
Yeah,
smaller
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
But I was thinking more. Can you give us like an example of how you were challenging them? Because the type of questions we get, like now as first years in high school, it'd be something like, okay, in the human cell, like the mitochondria does this and that.
Yeah.
Which one was false? Like A, B, C, D,
Yeah.
multiple choice, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So you're not really thinking. There's no critical thinking. It's just
Right.
you're going back in your memories. You're thinking, oh, I saw this in this page, so this must be the answer.
Yeah. So, I mean, as an example, so we, animal physiology, for example, we talk about, so there's one, I'm trying to think of one question from the exam. So there was a question where we had learned about leptin, which is this hormone that regulates, basically it's, your white fat, your energy storage tissue produces leptin, kind of communicates to the body that you've got a lot of fat, and therefore, okay, well, I can probably speed up my metabolism to use some of this fat or not eat as much or whatever. And so we have this study that was done, and I use this as the basis for the question, where it's like, here are these two fish, and it's showing you the movement of these fish in the aquarium. And it says one of these fish was injected with saline as a control, one was injected with leptin. Which fish is which? So right there, you're having to say to yourself, okay, I've never seen this study.
That is a very interesting question.
Well,
That's a very niche
I
question. I like that question. That's
You've
very
never seen the
interesting.
study, right? So you're just like, okay, well, what do I think? Like, I forget exactly.
How
But
it was
it's basically
phrased.
the idea. I forget exactly the details there, but it's basically like, I think there's like actually a danger post somewhere. There's like a predator or something is on the other side of the glass or something too. So you're basically like, okay, well, it seems like the one fish is like constantly moving around more and gets closer to that predator, and the other fish doesn't.
Yeah.
And so you have to think to yourself, like, okay, well, if I were starving to death, I would probably
Move less.
no.
No?
Would I? Well, maybe I do move less, but then I can't
to preserve
feed
energy,
myself. Yeah, but I mean, I guess I also have this threat over here,
Right,
right? So, like,
right.
if you were starving to death right now, right?
Yeah.
If you're like, okay, I haven't eaten in 4 days, guys,
Running to get food, probably.
you're probably focused on getting food.
That's true.
Right? And if they told you, like, hey, there's a whole bunch of, like, I don't know, like bricks falling from the ceiling that are going to crush you as you run to the food, you would probably be more likely to take that risk, I think.
Yeah, I'm risking it.
Yeah.
I don't know
If
about
you
you guys. I'm fully risking it.
Right? So,
Just,
yeah, I think,
just a little burger right there.
but I
the
mean,
bricks
so,
falling
but
down.
you raise it. So that's the nature of the question. But you do raise an interesting point, which is that, okay, well, maybe you thought about this in a different but perfectly logical fashion. So one of the things we tried to build in to, hopefully I can sustain this, is this idea that after you've completed the exam, there was an opportunity to do a rebuttal.
Right.
So if you got that question wrong, because I had thought it through this way and this is my answer, and then you said, well, here's my
Perspective.
perspective, and I get a chance to read it and be like, oh, that's perfectly logical. I can give you that mark.
Oh, seriously?
Right. So yeah, I mean, because that's part of it. There's the thing with multiple choice is that, if you didn't think things through the way I thought things through, but you still thought things through in a perfectly logical fashion, well, why would I penalize you for that?
That's true.
Right.
That's a powerful way of saying it. You're getting penalized because a lot of courses now you get penalized for thinking in a different manner than the prof.
Yeah.
Even if it was logical, right?
And it's hard as professors to like, you try to evaluate things even when you have like written exams. You're trying to, I try not to have obviously have an answer in my mind, but you try to read every answer and just be open to like, what is this person arguing? Does this make logical sense? If it does, let's give them a mark. And if it doesn't, then we won't.
Yeah.
Or like one thing they would do is on one of our bio classes last semester, they would have this question where it's choose the best answer out of all of them, and then all 4 would be correct.
Right.
But then it would just tell
It's
you
a
to
matter
like
of
choose
the wording. Which one was the most
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
questions.
and I guess the question is like, what's I hate those kinds of questions. But what's the point of that?
we all
Yeah,
do.
literally.
We all do.
Come
Who
on.
likes them?
Yeah, nobody likes that. The point of that is there's no point.
Yeah, it's
right?
like all of them are right, but which one's more right?
Yeah.
we could
My
have
head's
different
still on the
opinions.
fish question. Like, I really like that question. I wish like there was more questions like that on the midterm.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
You might be doing really good in this course next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But I think it also just reflects a kind of a lack of imagination too, right? Like a lot of professors also, I mean, not to knock on my colleagues, but a lot of them,
Go
ahead. A lot of them,
Oh my god.
a lot of them will be like, this is the kind of exam that I was given when I was an undergrad. This is the kind of exam I'm going to give my undergrads, right? It's kind of this like,
Just a cycle.
it's a cycle.
Just keep
Do
the
you guys
cycle
ever
going.
like communicate with each other, like
About your
give each
different
other's
ideas?
advice or
Yeah,
something
sure,
like
all
that?
the time.
like a
Yeah.
teacher lounge type of talk?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We have lots of. The one thing that again kind of separates U of T from a lot of other universities is we have a pretty high number of just like teaching focused faculty. right? So especially, and even a lot of our research faculty are very interested in teaching. So yeah, we're constantly getting together and sharing, best practices and different ideas and trying to learn from each other and get better. Yeah.
Okay.
If you were a student taking your own course, what would you do differently than others to do well, to succeed?
Yeah. I mean, I think if what I would have to do if I were a student in my own course, I think is number one, I gotta come to the lecture, right? I mean, I record the lectures.
Yeah.
And you'll notice, I don't know, I don't know, first year's probably recorded too, I assume.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them, right? So, I mean, you record the lectures and right away what happens is people stop coming,
Yeah.
right?
They don't see a reason to come.
They don't see a reason to come, right? They'll be like, I'll watch the recording later. So I think the first thing I would do is be like, going to class, right? I'm in that lecture, I'm listening to the lecture, because there's lots of evidence that suggests, like, if you are in that lecture and you are, and what I would do is take notes by hand, right? Don't take notes on a laptop, take notes by hand.
Yeah.
Seems very old fashioned, but there's all kinds of research that's like, hey, if you're in that lecture listening to that guy live and taking notes by hand, you can't write as fast as I can talk.
100%.
So you have to be thinking about what I'm saying right in the room and kind of like just jotting down.
Helps you memorize.
And it's not even to help you memorize, but at least it helps you understand, right? Because you're like, I have to actually think about what he's saying and just write down a quick summary of it, right? Whereas if people are taking notes by a laptop, they try to just like verbatim transcribe what you're saying, right? And then they're not thinking about anything you're talking about. They're just trying to get every little thing you said down.
That's exactly what happened in the first day. Everyone was just copying
Yeah.
word for word.
Right? That's the worst way to take notes. Sitting there trying to go word for word. You want to be thinking about what this guy is telling you. And I try to repeat myself a few times different ways just to kind of like get the point across. So yeah, I would show up to class. I would take notes by hand. Those would be the two things I would do. I definitely would be like trying to engage with that professor, like ask questions after the lecture. I don't love questions during a lecture personally, because it feels like I'm up there like an hour to like talk and tell you stuff, and like it disrupts the flow a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't mind a quick question, but like people who are like, I'm gonna keep asking over and over, you're just like,
save those questions for later.
save it for later. Yeah, I'll deal with it later. I'm happy to talk to you afterwards, but whatever. I don't want to discourage people from asking questions, but like come after the lecture, let's talk. So I would definitely engage, right? Because I mean, that's, you just want to make sure that you have a good full understanding of everything that's being talked about in that lecture.
What about exams?
Yeah, and for exams, I think, and this is the way I studied when I was a student anyways, is like the way I think to study for an exam like this in part, obviously you got to do the practice quizzes. We have all kinds of practice quizzes in the course. It's funny when students say they're struggling, the first thing I ask them is, are you doing the practice quizzes? And a lot of times like, no. Okay, well that you're not doing yourself any favors then, right? But yeah, I think the way to study for a course like this too, where like your understanding is key, is to actually like study by lecturing to yourself. That's how I used to study when I was an undergrad. I would like just try to like, I had the slides that person had up there, and I would just like go back and try to lecture. And that's easier with the slides that I have because there aren't many words on them. It's mostly just images that I've gone through in class and things like that. So there's not like there's words that you can just read. But if you were, if you understand something well, if you can teach it to others.
Yeah, if you simplify it.
So if you can simplify it down, teach it to others, and you understand it. So if you're trying to like pretend that you're lecturing to a class, you'll quickly figure out what you don't understand because you'll be talking and be like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense. Right? So you'll immediately figure out like, oh, this is an area I don't understand.
And then you're going to fill in the blank.
And then you go in and fill that blank in.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
So is your course lecture heavy, would you say, or do you guys use the textbook a lot too?
I don't use a textbook at all. I haven't done a textbook. I haven't had a textbook in years.
Love that.
Okay.
Yeah. Textbooks are too expensive.
That's what I was, oh my God.
Man of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Textbooks.
putting you for president. We're putting you in president for sure.
Yeah.
But,
So just lecture based,
Just lecture based. Yeah.
take
Attend the
notes,
lecture, take notes, use the office hours.
do the practice quizzes.
Do the practice quizzes for sure. I mean, they're not just there for the fun of it. They're there to like prep you for the exam. Those would be the big things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
I feel like the amount of time I'm sitting at home and my brother is watching your lectures, like I'm sitting in the lecture too, because like he does nothing but watch your lectures over and over again. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of like your lectures are very interesting. Like you're very engaging, especially with the students. Like I think I've heard like a couple of jokes. You try to keep everyone like not from zoning out, keeping it. And I like that teach style. That's pretty different from most professors.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from because I mean I don't know. It's just I remember
when
Yeah,
you were
I don't
a
know.
student? Like when you were a student, it was like you had some lectures that were boring or something.
Well, definitely. I just, but I don't even know where the confidence to present that way comes from. Like you have to be a little bit careful too with jokes.
True.
It can go horribly wrong. I had a joke in one of the courses I was teaching, human physiology. We're talking about like cerebral lateralization, right? How they like one cerebral hemisphere is more dominant than the other, and this idea that like if your right hemisphere is more dominant, you tend to be a little bit more artistic and spatial and those sort of things. If the left hemisphere is more dominant, it's more of analytical, whatever. And so I show this data set that it looks at like the percentage of left-handers, so right-brained people, who are in different programs in a university, right? Are you left-handed?
I'm ambidextrous.
Okay, all right.
What?
Well, that's
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I thought
I thought you were left-handed.
yeah. He definitely.
No. I write with my right, and then I catch and throw with my left.
Okay.
Does that really count as ambidextrous?
Yeah. I think so. If you can use them both, if you would just say you favor neither one,
Yeah.
And it's about 10% of the people I think who identify as ambidextrous.
Oh, what a rare read.
But so in
say.
the science fields, you have very few left-handed people. It's like 4%, 3%. So I made this joke once about like who's left-handed in the room. A handful of people put their room up.
Switch
You're like,
majors.
and you're like, yeah, basically like these are the people who are going to fail the course, right? And you tell it just as a joke, But then one year I got a student who put it on his evaluation. He's like, I didn't appreciate this joke. Right? And I'm like, okay, all right. So then the next year I was like, okay, I can still tell the joke. But then I softened it by there's this other study that I found was cool that actually if you look at the number of Nobel Prizes in countries per capita, it positively correlates with the percentage of people in those countries who are left-handed. And so it actually shows like it's the like artistic, creative minds in science who actually push the field forward the most. So that was a way to kind of like soften the joke. But you have to be a little bit careful with jokes, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
definitely in this day and age, some people. And now, what's interesting is I think scientists in general, like I found that like science students at UTSC are probably the least likely to be offended by a joke for sure.
UTSC?
And science students in particular, I think.
I was thinking more like Western. Because I feel like these people, they couldn't care less. They could just make a joke, they'll start laughing. They're just
they're just worried about the next party.
yeah. I mean, I got a chance to lecture a few times at Western, but not, I didn't, and that was early in my career, so I didn't get a chance to like, as you get later in your career too, you're like, I don't know, you just feel more
confident?
Yeah, you're more confident to tell a joke, and like, you can feel like if someone gets pissed off by the joke, okay, I can deal with that situation now more than I could when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What concept do you think second-year bio students struggle with the most? Coming in for first year, obviously.
Like what concept?
Like, okay, one thing I've noticed with bio and different sciences here,
Yeah.
because I came to this country like very recently,
Yeah. From where?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah.
So I've noticed that a lot of the courses and all the classes, they're sort of repetitive, but they just get more and more detailed.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be talking about the mitochondria for 4 years straight, but it's
Yeah.
just gonna keep getting more and more.
Right.
Like,
Right.
what's it called? Like accurate, right?
Yeah.
Smaller and smaller. You think you've got it, you think you've grasped it. Nope. Next year it's just like more complicated. There's more stuff to put in your mind.
Yeah.
So like, what do you think? Second year, like you said, they struggle with the fact that with your class specifically that they're being challenged, right?
Yeah.
There's a different paradigm.
Yeah.
Like they can't really, adapt fast. Especially you said first midterm, they can't adapt to those questions.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like they struggle with the most, excluding that. Like is there a specific concept in bio?
No, I don't. I've not identified like one concept that's really. I mean, I think going back to your point about the mitochondrion, like I think the kind of way maybe to approach things too as a student is to remind yourself, and even as a professor, to remind yourself, you're never going to know everything,
Yeah.
right? Like you might think like. My whole PhD was studying mitochondrial metabolism. There's still a ton about it I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's not. Yeah. So it's not. I mean, you're right. It does feel like the same thing over and over again. You need to. I think if you can recognize that part of the reason we repeat things over and over again is because chances are you're not going to have mastered that concept the first time through.
That's true.
Actually, if I go in particular to a concept, it would be resting potential.
Resting potential?
Like
the
membrane
neurons?
resting potential.
Oh, membrane.
Resting membrane potential. And so, we cover that over and over, in physiology. And actually there's I quote a paper in my animal phys lab course, because I always say to students like, okay, well, you've probably encountered this topic before. And especially people who are coming into like, maybe they've been in neuroscience even, and they're like, okay, well, I've learned about it,
Yeah.
And there's a paper that says like, it's probably the most difficult concept for students
To, like,
to master.
grasp and master.
And
Yeah.
most never will, is what they say. And part of that is because it's taught like shit. You know, that's one of the things I've
definitely
learned is
the
that
reason.
people like, you know, again, I get a lot of, I mean, I think what has helped me the most in my teaching career is like to try and think about how to like present this information to you in like the most fundamental way. Like I'm always trying to like strip things down to like the fundamental building blocks.
Simplest way possible.
The simplest way possible, but also like, and I think, I think that has helped me to like be able to teach some concepts that maybe others struggle with. So I think the key is like, you're never going to understand anything. You're never going to understand anything fully.
Yeah, right.
So I think always being willing to say like, I heard about mitochondria yesterday, or I heard about, resting membrane potential last semester. If you shut your mind off and be like, okay, I already know it,
yeah.
then you're missing out on that
struggle.
opportunity to be like, okay, but me hearing it again from a different person, perhaps even, is going to help me to like really get better at understanding
The concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
What does your course go over? Is it just a continuation of Bio 1, or is there like a specific like plants?
We're talking about animal phys.
Oh, okay.
no
animal
plants.
cells, yeah.
No plants.
Whoa.
Yeah, no plants.
That's research.
That's all the research side. So we go through. I mean, so animal physiology in particular goes through. Fundamentally, we start with what are animals.
Yeah, I was about to say I saw like a squid or something on my brother's screen.
Yeah, because I mean, the first when I first came here, and I tell this story in the lecture, so I'm going to spoil it for you now. But it's like the first. Well, I mean, it's not. It's something. I mean, one of the first years I taught animal physiology here, we had an in-person final exam, and I had a question on there. It says like, which of the following animals, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And student puts his hand up, so I wander over, and he says, "Well, I think humans is the answer to this question." He's like, "But humans aren't animals, are they?" And I was like, I've let this kid down. Like if I've let him get to, if he's got to the final exam in animal phys and doesn't know humans are animals, I failed him. So every year we start with like, what are animals? And the very first thing I say in that course is like, here's a picture of a human. This is an animal, right? So that's kind of where we start. What are animals? We move into like metabolism, right? It's a huge topic in animal physiology, thermal physiology, so how do you regulate body temperature, feeding and digestion, respiratory physiology. Those are kind of the key things that we cover in that course. And try to put a lot of emphasis, because one of the things that's also challenging here is, especially it's getting more and more challenging, is that most of the students who come here really don't care about animals.
Oh.
Right? Like most of the students who are coming to UTSC in biology want to go to medicine.
Yeah.
They want to go to healthcare. They care about
so true.
humans.
That
right?
happened in the first lecture for chemistry.
Yeah.
I think it was Professor Marco. He said something along the lines of, "Oh, who wants to go to med school?"
Yeah.
Oh,
Entire
that
class.
happened. Yeah, that happened.
Right?
Entire class raised their hand.
So that's a challenge when you're teaching animal physiology, because you're teaching about, how a fish breathes. And this person is sitting there thinking like,
Oh,
I don't give a shit about how a fish breathes. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, tell me about how a human breathes. I don't care about a fish.
That's what's happening with us right now, because we're learning about plants.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are just not really interested.
Right? Which is kind of weird, because like plants are so essential to medicine, right? When you think about like how many pharmaceutical drugs have their origin in plants, even if you think about it, there's just
Even
plants
herbs.
are so herbs, plants are fundamental to medicine, human health. So the fact that
A lot of people are not interested in that.
the fact that so that's one of the things that our department here, biology department here at UTSC, like we have been worried that at some point, like the weight of all these med school focused students will just crush the biology department, and we'll die as a biology department and be resurrected as just a pre-med department, which none of us want.
Right.
So the question becomes like, okay, how do you convince students who are interested in medicine that there's actually value in learning about plants? There's value in learning about conservation and biodiversity, like recognizing that a healthy human is not just about my body systems, but it's about me and my environment, a healthy environment. And so, we're trying to figure out how we get medical students more interested in just like life more broadly.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the course? Or what do you love teaching?
My favorite part of that course?
Yeah.
And my favorite part of that course is when we do the first half of the feeding and digestion lecture, because we spend a good chunk of time talking about all the different ways that different animals feed. And that's my favorite part. Is just like what I try to emphasize in that course is like the diversity of animal life, right? Because again, you get students who come in, they're thinking like, oh, animals just do everything the way humans do it. And like feeding is a great chance to show like, no, there's a lot of different ways you can feed, right? Whether you're like sucking blood out of other animals, or you're just like, filtering out particles in the water, or scooping mud into your mouth and hoping you get something. Like there's so many different ways you can feed. So it's like going through that diversity.
That's your favorite
That's
part.
a lot of fun. Yeah, that's my favorite part for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we saw something about Biosa posting. They said that you know, they were offering people to arm wrestle you.
My arm is still
Sore.
Still sore.
Oh no!
Why?
We were gonna.
Were
offer
you
that.
going to challenge me?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Exactly
so, I mean,
that.
The thing is, I arm wrestled for an hour and a half.
Oh God! How
With
many people
students.
showed
Any
up?
winners?
I was about 50-50.
Okay,
I was okay. And then, I knew I was going to feel it for the next couple of days. Because anytime, like, I don't use my arm very, like, well, you know, I'm sitting, I'm not.
I think I walked by the student
walk
center and I
by?
saw some students
Yeah.
putting some toilet paper around me. I thought that was
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
I was getting toilet paper too. It was, yeah. I mean, Biosa, I become like the go-to. Like Biosa's like, hey, we need someone to do something. Like, hey, Jason, you want to do this for us?
Immediately sent you an email.
Yeah, they just immediately sent me an email. Right? I know too many people on Biosa, so. I mean, I'm up for it. If you want to challenge me, I'm up for it. I lost early, so I lost. I went to the biology main office today. I had to get an envelope for something, and I had already asked the chair of the department last week when I was arm wrestling. I was like, "You want to come down and arm wrestle me?" He refused to come across. He was like, "It's too cold to walk over there."
Oh, he's scaredy cat over
yeah,
here.
well, but
Excuses.
no. I was in the office today, and he heard me. He's like, "Hey, come on." And he beat me.
He
Oh,
was preparing.
yeah.
He needed a week to prepare.
Yeah.
He was doing something.
Yeah. So, okay, are we doing this?
Yeah, sure.
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, good.
Are you right-handed? You're
Right-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's left-handed.
I'm left-handed.
He's ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Any takers? Any takers?
I'll be taking.
That's not what it
We're
means,
doing
but okay.
this? I don't know.
Okay, no, nothing.
Okay.
Okay,
We need a ref.
We do need a ref.
Okay, so-
Where do you get in there?
Okay, I don't feel good about this. I feel like there's gonna be a loss here.
All right, ready?
Are we gonna come closer?
I got a little closer.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my God.
Oh, it was 50-50 with you? Who beat
I
you?
need to know.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a whirlwind of people who came by. Yeah.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so this is
Hopefully
the
not.
very last question we're gonna ask. So,
Okay.
if you had a grade 12 student or a first year
Yep.
standing right in front of you, what is one advice you would give right now that would genuinely prepare them for second year biology and beyond?
They're preparing for second year biology and beyond. Yeah, I mean, I think I would tell all first years, like high school students, whatever, I would say, like, go talk to your profs. Like, that's the biggest piece of advice I would give, right?
Get to know them.
Get to know them, go talk to them, go to their office hours, ask them questions, pester them, like, yeah.
Basically annoy them.
I don't want to go so far as to say annoy, but like take advantage of that resource.
Right. Because
Right.
they're present, right? It's
They're
not
present,
like, It's not like
right.
a lot of, well, high school, I mean, they were present, but like for profs, it's much more rare.
It seems like people are afraid of us sometimes, you know?
I
So,
see that.
I
yeah.
see that.
and I can see it. Like, I mean, I would say like, go visit your prof, right? Or every class you have next, you're a second year, first year, whatever, go visit your prof. If it was a terrible experience, don't go back. But if it was a great
Fair enough.
experience, then go back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? Like,
Just
but
experience
don't prejudge it as like this guy is going to be a dick to me or I'm not going to get anything out of that. Like, go, because the thing about that is it not only, I mean, it'll probably help you in your immediate courses, but it's also going to help you when you're wrapping up your fourth year and you're like, hey, I'm ready to go to medicine. I'm ready to go to grad school.
A referral
I need that
letter.
reference letter.
True.
And this guy that I've been taking classes with and getting to know now knows me enough to write a really good letter that helps me, as opposed to me emailing him and saying like, hey, I was on all your courses. I never talked to you once, but do you think you can write a reference letter for me? So just, that'd be my biggest piece of advice.
Talk to
It's
your
not
profs,
course
make use of
specific per se, but
No, that's perfect. That's
just
perfect.
go talk
yeah.
to your profs.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, one final thing, one really last thing.
No problem.
You sound like a typical student. This is how students work. They're like,
What?
last
Yeah,
question.
amazing.
Oh, yeah, I got one more last question. Oh, there's one more last question.
It just keeps going.
It just
going,
keeps
and
going. Yeah.
So let's say we're fourth years, right? We're looking to apply to medical school.
Yeah.
What would you say is more important, GPA or experience in research and volunteering and shadowing?
Yeah, I mean, the GPA unfortunately is apparently really important. I mean, I wish the med schools would. I mean, it's just an easy way, I guess, to try and rank students. Yeah, right. It's crappy because I mean, we know that your GPA as an undergrad does not predict how good a physician you're going to be. Right, it doesn't predict how good a graduate student you would be. We all know that, but they use it anyway. So you got to have that GPA, especially in Canada. Right, where it's like ultra competitive and they just use that GPA.
To differentiate people.
But just to kind of weed you out, right? But yeah, I mean, I think that research experience is certainly helpful. Again, it's a challenge, right? Because, you know, I mean, when I was an undergrad, like it was expected that, you know, as part of your fourth year, you were going to do a research project, you know, and now we got to the point where universities are so large, you can't do that. Right. So then you get this like pool of students competing and trying to get research opportunities, and it's hard. And yeah. So, but again, knowing your profs helps, right? Like if you're in second year and you're cultivating those relationships with people, then you cash on. I mean, it's kind of a weird, because I mean, on my end, you kind of recognize that someone is building a relationship with you in part because they want to cash in on that later, you know. So it's kind of a weird. It's a weird relationship you have with any student, right? Yeah. Like they
based on benefits.
Yeah, it's based on them thinking like, I'll get to know him well, and you know, like, but I'm gonna use it in an exploitative way at some point. So you have to like, okay, I've just made peace with that. But yeah, that's where you can cash in and say, okay, well, hey, I'm looking to do a fourth year research project. You know, we've gotten to know each other very well over the past couple of years. You know, if you get a spot for me, kind of a thing, right? Or what opportunities can you help me connect with? So they're both important, I guess, is the answer to the question. The GPA, unfortunately, is really important because that's how the med schools filter you out. But having that research experience, that clinical experience, you know, is also helpful. So you kind of need them both. So the thing I think that's important here overall too is that, you know, if you're interested in med school or grad school, you know, you're going for that high GPA, you're going for these research opportunities, you also can't forget to live your life, right? Yeah. Like there's nothing, I mean, I remember the most disappointing thing I ever encountered here was a student who had come, so much like you, I guess, came from somewhere else, right? You're coming into Toronto, world-class city, and this person had been here for 4 years, right? Focused on med school. And you're like, have you ever like explored the city? And the answer is like, no. I've never explored the city. You're in a world-class city, right? Like, that is true. So like, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, right? It's like you have to balance being a student with having a life.
That is true.
At the same time, no matter what your ambitions are, because
I feel like a lot of people just give up on their social life the moment university starts.
Yeah, don't. Right? You need that social life. Like that's what's going to get you.
It's going to keep you from burning out.
Yeah, the burnout is like, yeah. I mean, if you're going to burn out as a student, you're going to for sure burn out as a physician or a med student. So, yeah, like make sure you're maintaining those friendships, those social obligations. Like, you know, yeah, don't get so focused in on the future that you forget about the present.
So overall, let's say student A and student B. Student A, higher GPA, let's say 3.9, maybe even a 4.0, but not so much on the research. And then student B, let's say like a 3.7 or a 3.6, but a lot of research. Student A wins?
Yeah, I think for med school, I think so.
Oh,
yeah. For med school, for sure, I think student A probably wins. For grad school, very different.
Very different. Okay.
Right? I mean, grad school, they're much more looking for like your research experience. Are you genuinely interested in the research that you're asking to do? So yeah, I think and correspondingly, your GPA can be a lot lower going into grad school, right?
It's kind of expected.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's just that. I mean, it's just that there are. I mean, it's changing a little bit because again, there's lots of people. This is the complicating factors. You get a lot of students who are interested in medicine who are saying, "Oh, okay, well, I'll do a master's first, right?" Because that's apparently a lot of med schools will give you a leg up. You know, if you have a master's, they don't expect as much of a GPA from you. Maybe they'll give you a little bit of benefit with master's.
Right.
So now you're getting a flood of people who aren't interested in research going into their master's, right? Taking up those spots, right? From people who are actually genuinely interested in research so they can use it as a leg to get into medicine. But yeah, I think with medicine, it's GPA that always wins, is how I understand it. And like, yeah, it's just ridiculously high expectations, right? I mean, I've had students who were like, you had students who you're like, you would be an amazing physician, you have awesome grades, and they're still getting rejected from med schools in Canada at least.
It's really unfortunate.
It sucks, right? Like Canada is so ridiculous when it comes to medicine, right? Like we're starting to correct the problem a little bit, you know, got the med school coming here, got the med school down there at TMU.
The one they're building right now.
Yeah, there's one we're building. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to be rectified, but it's just not, I mean, we're just losing people to other countries, right? They're saying, "Hey, I'll go get my."
I've seen a lot of people go to Georgia. Georgia, yeah.
Like the country of Georgia.
Country of Georgia, yeah.
I've never seen anybody go to Georgia for med school, but
yeah,
I'm hearing a lot of people do that because
really?
There's no. Georgia and Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland for sure.
Ireland, yeah.
Ireland, Australia,
Atlantic,
States,
US,
and England.
I've not had as many go to England. But I've written a lot of reference letters for Ireland.
It's because of
Caribbean.
Caribbean, yeah. It's because there's no undergrad. You don't do undergrad. You just go straight to med school.
It's in England, yeah, for sure. You can go straight out of your...
Yeah, you go straight to med school. You don't do 4 years of undergrad. A lot of people... It's like by the time that you're now starting to specialization or whatever, like you're now getting into it, they're done. They're doctors. They've graduated.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's like the same thing. You're getting adjusted to a new life. You're not going to explore the cities. You know, you're in Dublin.
Yeah, same thing.
You're not
That's
gonna
right.
see
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. People are too focused on
academia.
to just enjoy their lives, right? It's a challenge. I get it. Like, I mean, I'm the same way sometimes, right? You're teaching, a bunch of courses and you're like, I mean, last semester I was teaching 4.5 courses. So it's like, there was not a lot of time that I was spending on social things. So this semester I'm not teaching anything. I'm like, I have to prioritize, doing some other things.
Yeah, living life.
Yeah, living your life, right? Like spend some time. I mean, like I said, I got 2 kids that are about to go off to university next year. They'll both probably be out of the city. So like spending some time with them. Yeah, you can't forget that.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Professor Jason Brown, for being on the podcast.
This was really nice.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed
It was
it.
a pleasure.